All right, so in this video, we are taking a look at these three projects. So we have the extruded, gold tip, and armored. So, something that I love doing in Cinema 4D. And again, I'm going to talk a lot about what I used to do in Cinema 4D because I spent a lot of years, working with it. And I created a plugin which is more fractal, which handles extrusions on the primitive geometry, right? Like a cube, spheres, and the way extrusions at least worked for more fractile is that you had a couple of levels of extrusions that you could make for any given shape. And so it was slider based, and from there you can do pretty much a lot of things just with a couple of sliders. So here we have two renders. So yeah, my internet is bad. Yeah, we have two shapes, right? Very different from each other, but it was very easy to achieve this type of things. And I was like, you know what, let's try to recreate something similar inside of Blender with the extrusions. So let's jump into Blender to show you how I made these. And let's start with the extruded. And again, for this series, I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to give a feedback on my own art, for these three series. I think the first two are great. The first one is amazing. I love it a lot. The second one has a couple of things that I don't really like this geometry that is coming out of it. But I didn't know how to fix this. But I love the texture, I love the lighting, very crisp, very nice. And the third one, well, yeah, it's kind of meh. The design-wise is nice, but yeah, I didn't really had something else for the texturing style. So yeah, but the first one is great. If you want to download one of these, I really recommend the first one. But let's jump inside of the file. So extrude, yep. Let's open it up. And yeah, we have a lot of things happening, right? First of all, I am using a camera orthographic view. So yeah, there's a lot of things. There's a way to fix kind of all of this jigger happening here, all of this issue of intercepting geometry in orthographic view. I don't remember how to fix this. But for now, yeah, let's just jump out and let's take a look at the shape. So, I mean, yeah, it looks nice, right? You could take this and put it inside of another scene, and something you could actually do without a lot of effort. Just create a landscape and add this on top of it. It would just look nice. And I might actually do some project like that. Because I used to do a lot of projects like that. And actually, I'm going to go back to my site. I'm going to show you some of the showcase that I have that is exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's this one. So as you can see here, we have a landscape scene with a more fractile object. It's a cube extrusion, right? Using my more fractile just inside of the scene. So yeah, very great use from Jared Todd of one of my presets that I had for this product. And yeah, it's sometimes you don't need to reinvent everything. Just take what you like and include them inside of your project. So yeah, this is already good to go. But let's. I'm not gonna go inside of the camera. I'm just gonna show you just like that, so we can actually see what's happening. And something I'm gonna do is activate the cavity mode. Yeah. Ooh. I mean, yeah. I wish we had something like that inside of Cinema 4D. This looks nice. Real nice. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here so we can see. And we have three lights. And I'm going to go to my cube here. Here we have the texturing. So we are going to get into the texturing a little bit later on. And yeah, let's open up the geometry node, and we have a couple of things happening, right? Don't be scared. These are all the same thing. So actually, I'm gonna plug in the first one. So this is a geometry group node, right? We have our cube, subdivide mesh. We can actually subdivide it, and it will create different outcome. So let's go to the level 0 so we can see what's happening here. And we are going to jump inside of the group node. So to get inside, you need to press tab. And if you want to get out, you need to press tab again. Something that I don't really like about Blender is the use of shortcuts. You know, a lot of action are taken only with shortcuts, and I hate, you know, using shortcuts. But anyway, I'm inside of the group, and what do we have? We have a extrude mesh, a scale element, extrude mesh again, and scale element. So we have two extrusions happening here, and as you can see, there's actually 1 and 2 extrusions. So yeah, seems right. So let's take the first extrusion, right? So we have a 0.010 offset. So this dictates pretty much how much offset it is going to be. So I'm going to put something else. So we have a scale element, which is going to scale the element. So we can either scale everything, so everything will get scaled, or we can take only the top. And now only the top part of our offset extrusion will be affected by this. We can also do the side. And yeah, I don't think this does anything useful. After that, you know, we could actually just use this and copy them, paste. We will have the same thing happening over and over. So I can do that again. But this way, in order to control, we will need to actually control each individual settings. And this is why I actually have a group node, because I just have to create one group node with only 2 settings that I have to change. And then I am duplicating this over and over again, so we can have different levels of extrusion without having to control everything. So as you can see here, as I go on, it just adds another layer of extrusions with exactly the same setting. So I can go into one, change one group, and everything will be affected by the same values. Let's get back in. Something that I added here, inside of the second extrude mesh, I have a face area. So this will take into account the area, the faces that are extruded. So in this case, it's pretty much all of these, and a greater than. So we have a value inside of the selection here of the mesh. And as I increase this, you will see that some faces are not going to be extruded at all, because it exceeds the value that I have, right? So if I want to, I can extrude this, but I can also control where or not it will be affected by these extrusions. So this comes in handy when you have multiple extrusions happening, because as you can see, I'm going to add a couple of them, and I'm going to jump back inside of the first extrusion, and I'm going to change the value here. And as you can see, as I turn this down, more areas will be affected by the extrusion. So without anything, it looks like a mess, right? Because everything is affected, every face is extruded. But with this little setup, I can control actually how many of them are affected by the second extrusion inside of the group. So yeah, and we have another scale element, so I can scale the second one differently than the first extrusion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So to recap, let's go back inside of the first group extrusion. And I'm going to set this to 0 so you can pretty much see what's happening. So I'm going to extrude this by 1. The scale, I'm going to keep it at 0.5. Maybe, you know what, 0.5, 0.5. And next, I'm going to have this set to 0.1. So we have more extrusion onto all of the new faces that have been created. I'm going to change the scale. You know what? I'm going to keep it at 0, but I'm going to have a selection here, 0.5, right? And next, I'm going to go out of my group and go to the end, add everything together, and we have this. So yeah, we will have to figure out how to change that again. So yeah, you need to be careful with these values because a lot is happening. So yeah, it's not easy to get something that looks great. That's why I actually created my own plugin, because and now I'm not sure I will be able to recreate actually the same shape that I had. So that's why I'm glad I have those files. So I'm going to reopen the same file, get out, turn that down. I'm going to add the cavity. And yeah, I mean, this looks nice again. All right, so let's go into the cube and all right, let's take a look at the texturing. So something that I wanted to do is I wanted to add two different shaders in the same geometry object. We have our geometry, a color ramp, and inside this I have the pointiness. So we are taking track of the pointiness of each point. I think we have a color ramp set to constant, so we can actually see here the radius of our pointiness objects of the mesh. Next, we have a mix node. So we have a white and black value. So that's how we are able to control this. So we put this inside of a mix. And actually, I don't even need that. What I need is to feed this inside of the color ramp. And we can have exactly the same outcome, maybe inverted. Actually have the same outcome without having to use this. So yeah, again, it is what it is. And yeah, I have a mix shader. Inside of that, I have two different texture, red one and a white one with some soft surface scattering. And that's how I was able to create this kind of dirt node, this double texture mix. So yeah. All right, so let's open up the second one, which is the gold tip. And I'm going to go out of my camera. And as you can see, this looks nice. And you know what? I'm going to make it look even nicer. Oh, yes. This is great. Cube. We have exactly the same setup. And I'm going to go to my geometry node again. I subdivided my mesh to 2. So you can add 1 and 0. It will have a different outlook. Oh, nice. Actually, I think this fixed some of my issue. So let's go back to 2. And yeah, this is what I was talking about that I didn't really like. The issue is, I think, the scale. So it's a 1.01. Let's add 1. Let's add 0.9. No, 0.99. Yeah, I think it froze. Yep. Okay, close. Don't worry. Yeah, so you need to be careful while trying to change some of these values. I think the only way to be able to fix this is actually control every single extrusion one by one. And this is a kind of thing that will take forever, because at this point we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have about 10 different extrusions happening, with both having two sets of values. So yeah, we have about 20 different values that we'll have to take care of. But yeah, so let's take a look at the third project, which is the armored one. I'm gonna back off and enable the cavity. So now I have the cavity set on by default in some newer projects, because this looks nice. And again, exactly the same setup. So, I don't really have a lot of things to say here apart from the group system. So tab to get in. And if you want to create a group system, you just select everything, right click, make group. That's pretty much it. And something else that I wanted to talk about is, for some reason, something that works well inside of Blender is, even though we are in orthographic view, we still can use the depth of field, which is just amazing, right? So we can select again our focused point. So I don't know if this is something that could be done inside of Cinema 4D. I don't really remember being able to add a depth of field using orthographic views, right? But in Blender, I'm really glad this works. You can do a lot of things, and I'm going in some other series get more inside of the camera settings and stuff you can actually change. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this series. I think it was fairly quick, but hey, I hope you are enjoying these. There's a lot of stuff that will come out of them. So, my goal with the daily project has always been to try and research some new workflows and be able to provide some type of, assets or presets afterwards. So, yeah. If that happens, know that you will be the first one to get notified and be able to dive into this type of smart libraries that I'm creating for the community. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.